Yo, what's cracking, guys? Just wanted to pop in, do another quick update here. Just let you know what's going on. I posted another video. What about a week or so ago now? I can't even remember. So much has been going on. Um, I'm kind of doing some multitasking here. Got my oatmeal and gonna get that down once it cools off. Um, just kind of getting myself ready for uh, hitting the gym here. So, Nigel, I wanted to. I know you had asked about me getting back to the gym. Yes, I'm definitely back. So a little update on the training aspect. So basically, kind of doing the same split that I was before. So Monday, I'm doing uh, chest and triceps. Tuesday back and biceps, Wednesday shoulders, and Thursday legs. Um, I know it might seem kind of ridiculous to some that I kind of have my own, shoulder and trap day, but uh, that's an area, at least for me personally, it's been really difficult to grow. And on push days with chest and triceps, it's really hard because I go so hard on chest and triceps that it's hard to uh, bang out shoulders as well. It's hard to, I don't have much left in the tank by the time I get to shoulders. I've tried it and I can't keep up. I don't have the I don't have the endurance at that point. I don't have any the strength left over at that point. I'm already just pretty much maxed out. So I'm going to be doing some changes here with the videos, including the background and how I do them. I just kind of want to have fun with it. Again, I've got this DJI Mic Mini set up, which I still have yet to use. It's been sitting there for, oh gosh, 6-8 months. Um, but So yeah, I'm definitely back in the gym, and just kind of getting things done there. It's just been incredibly busy. Lots of things going on. It just feels here lately like there's so much going on that I just can't keep up, and just trying to keep my head above water and stay positive. But I wanted to relay that to everyone that no matter how hard things get, you gotta pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and put one foot in front of the other and just keep going. I mean, it's hard. Little bit of an update here. I've been really trying to work and concentrate on forearms more because being 6'10", somewhere between 6'10", 6'11", it's been really hard for me. Like I have skinny wrists. I mean, I got big hands too, but I feel like my wrists have always been pretty skinny, and I don't really know at this point about getting those too much bigger. Once I hit 45, I feel like I'm prioritizing functional strength and endurance over aesthetics. And I feel like now I'm just kind of letting the aesthetic aspect become a byproduct of, trying to build strength and just kind of see what comes from that. You know, like Nigel mentioned in his last video and his quick update, I'm not looking to throw 3 plates on either end and go for reps. And in all honesty, it's been probably 3-4 years since I've been able to do 3 plates on either side. But I wanna give a little secret here. But yeah, I'm definitely definitely kind of going for it here. So uh, trying to build muscle, still 100% natural. Getting the traps, the shoulders in. So here's kind of a little secret. Sorry, my brain is scrambled today. Here's kind of a little secret. So I've been following, and I'm sure you guys have heard of Devin Larratt, Schoolboy, a lot of the oh gosh, John Brzenk, a lot of the top arm wrestlers out there. I think Devin Larratt's from Canada, and then there's Levon Sagnashvili, I think. I don't know. I can't pronounce his last name, but incredibly strong athletes. And one of the things that I've noticed, crisscrossing into other sports, like say strongman. Okay, Brian Shaw, 4 times world's strongest man, he's going into arm wrestling, and you would think, well, this guy's 4-time, world's strongest man. The guy works out, on the regular, incredibly strong, just brute strength. You would think that he would be able to get on the table and just beat anybody in an arm wrestling match, but that's not true. It's not so much just the strength, but it's the technique too. He is very strong, but knowing how and where to apply that strength with the proper technique to beat somebody, in his case, coming from world's strongest man and trying to go up against somebody in arm wrestling, it's a completely different technique. I'm sure he can outbench, outlift a lot of these guys and do some of the, endurance sports as it relates to world's strongest man that a lot of these other guys can't do. But at the same time, you're going to see somebody that's half Brian Shaw's size come in and beat him on the table. That doesn't mean that Brian Shaw is not strong. That doesn't mean that he's not, gifted and not just an overall badass. He's an amazing human being. But it's just completely different conditioning, completely different technique, and trying to switch over from one to the other. The reason why I mentioned that is because I thought, well, okay, so I see a lot of, because I watch a lot of arm wrestling videos, so I see a lot of techniques and how they work out, how they do, the pronation, supination, flexion, extension, all of that good stuff. And I'm thinking, okay, there are some ways that I can actually get my forearms to grow. As of right now, I'm basically just doing hammer curls and reverse curls, and that works. The other thing that really helps, 2 other things actually, is reverse lat pull down. So instead of the lat pull down this way, you're basically bringing it this way, and I mean that is one hell of a bicep builder. I'm not one that can really do a pull up. I can do some push-ups, but I can't. I've never really been able to do a pull up. But the lat pull down, reverse, has dramatically increased not only strength of my forearms, but just the overall size. So, sorry, like I said, I'm all over the place. I'm in the process of building. I'm working on a project as well. So there's that. But the other thing, I've seen the rice buckets, where they have the 5-gallon bucket full of rice and they're just digging in there. I've seen the grip, the grip strength challenges, lots of different ways to build your forearms. But one thing that I saw is they're using basically a belt or a strap, and they're wrapping it around their wrist, and you got the weights hanging, and you're basically lifting up, or kind of lifting that way. I guess you wrap it around your thumb, and the further away from your thumb that you get with the strap, the harder it gets, if I'm understanding that properly. And then, of course, I have a wrist roller as well. I've done wrist curls, but because I've had surgery on my right wrist a number of years ago, I had a couple carpal bones taken out because I snapped a tendon, and then they shifted. I can't really do wrist curls as well as I used to, but I have a wrist roller where basically, it's just kind of like a handle, and you basically just twist it. You're pulling the rope up with the weight hanging at the bottom of it, and then you reverse it, let it down. That's helped quite a bit. But I'm going to start doing some of those arm wrestling movements. I'm going to start incorporating some arm wrestling training, even though I'm not looking to, do any arm wrestling. But I'm going to incorporate some of their training and techniques into my protocol to see if I can, get these skinny things a little bit bigger, I know some of them, like Devin Larry, his hands, he's gotten his hands quite a bit bigger, his wrist quite a bit bigger. And honestly, I don't care as much about aesthetics. This is more just for me personally, just because I want to, I like change. I want to know that, when I set out to do something, I can do it. And if I want to change something, about myself, mentally, physically, I can do it. I have the power to do that. I know sometimes it's easier said than done, but, it's another obstacle, another hurdle to overcome. So, but that's kind of what I've been doing is I've been incorporating, for endurance work, I've been incorporating a little bit more uh, kind of martial arts style because I did martial arts when I was a kid. Blew out my knee too, my right knee. Um, but I'm kind of trying to incorporate a little bit of that, a little bit of bag work, the punching bag. So, like a little bit of boxing, martial art type stuff, but not really in depth, just kind of skimming the surface. Not looking to be like a Jackie Chan or a Bruce Lee or something like that. Yeah. Or Chuck Norris. Rest in peace, brother. But uh, incorporating those basically for endurance. And then incorporating some of the arm wrestling techniques, just to kind of fill in some of the gaps, like with my wrists and my forearms. And I think overall, incorporating, different techniques from different sports and different workouts and different routines, I think, rather than just going to the gym and just, bodybuilding and lifting weights and putting them down, I lift with purpose. To me, there's a difference between, like, say, a weightlifter and a bodybuilder. A weightlifter, okay, are you just lifting weights and setting them down? Anybody can pick up a weight and set it back down. Or, bodybuilding, I know there's a lot of controversy behind that, but I guess it's lifting with purpose versus lifting without purpose. And I'm one that I lift with purpose. I try to visualize, the muscle that I'm working out. I visualize it growing. I visualize it, where I see it in the next couple of months, and I'm just trying to get closer and closer to that goal. CT Fletcher had a video out a long time ago. It was I Command You to Grow. Now there's a real badass for you. CT Fletcher, that dude is just, it's amazing. I love watching his videos. But that one in particular, I Command You to Grow, just killed me. I mean, it filled me with laughter. And I know it wasn't, maybe that's the way I took it, more of kind of a comedy skit than serious, but it was absolutely a very real and very serious, thing. While I did get a chuckle out of it, I started kind of taking, some of his philosophies and kind of incorporating them into my routines. And it's just, there's no one size fits all. What works for you isn't going to work for this guy. Maybe some of it might work for this guy. Maybe you have to dissect and reverse engineer some of your routines, some of this guy's routine, some of that guy's routine. But I think it's good to constantly be on the lookout for things to add to your workout, and to try new things, because, like in my corporate career, I was stuck, stale, and stagnant. That's why I got the fuck out. I couldn't do it anymore. I just realized that wasn't for me. You climb the corporate ladder just to get to the top and realize that the ladder that you climbed has been leaning against the wrong wall. And then you just wasted years of your life. But that's a whole nother thing. But, so yeah, I think it's good to take, you don't need to just stick with one routine. Like, okay, I'm going to do bench this day. I'm going to do triceps this day, shoulders this day, and to, go in a little bit further, a little bit deeper, I'm only going to do, the bench press. I'm only going to do flies. I'm only going to do skull crushers. I'm only going to do tricep pushdowns. Try something different, especially as we age, we have to adjust our protocol. What worked for us 10, 15, 20 years ago may not work for us today, or it may work, but just may not be as effective. So I think it helps to incorporate other, bits and pieces of other, techniques or routines into your routine, and just see how that kind of works for you. And for me personally, that's helped me get over a major plateau, and it's extremely exciting. So, all right, guys, I don't want to make it too long. I'm going to get down this oatmeal, throw on some headphones, and crank some heavy metal and go work out. And but that's where I'm at now. And yeah, I'll definitely post back. Like I said, I'm going to be kind of switching things up maybe kind of getting rid of this drab, green background. But yeah, we're getting there. So we're we're definitely slowly but surely. So that's where we are now. And I tell you what, it's taken quite a long time to get even to this point, but I'm having fun with it. I would say try not to take it too seriously. I mean, take your health seriously, yes, but for me personally, I'm prioritizing functional strength over aesthetics. Aesthetics, let it be a byproduct of the training. Yeah, I don't want to walk around, 350, 400 pounds, and just, can't breathe and, encroaching on a heart attack or something like that. Um, I think, how much do I weigh? I think I weigh I'm somewhere between 285 and I don't know, 86, 87. I'm around there. I'm not quite 290 yet. Between 285 and 290. But I got to take care of the midsection a bit. So I want to work on that V taper a little bit more, just kind of even things out. But I'm focusing more on functional strength as I get older because, in a SHTF or shit hits the fan situation, in a survival situation, functional strength and endurance is what's going to save your ass. Walking around with six-pack abs and, a big chest and big biceps, that's not necessarily going to save. If you're going for purely aesthetics alone, that ain't going to save you in a survival situation. But functional strength and endurance is. Now, if you have a big chest, a big beefy chest and big biceps and triceps and back and everything, if that's just a byproduct from you and how you train and your genetics, then hey, great, yeah, then absolutely that's going to help you stay in a survival situation. But I think if you're only just training for, purely aesthetics, in my opinion, you should be focusing more on strength. And just let everything else kind of be a byproduct of that. So even size. But I don't know. I would definitely like some debate on that because I have a lot of things to say on that topic, but I don't want to make this a super long video. So just wanted to throw up another update video and hopefully get the discussion going again. Nigel, hope you're doing well, my friend. Grim, hope you're doing well, my friend. And I will holler at you guys soon. Peace.